we got big stars, big names, and the magazine became very recognized. It's the standard, is the reference, because we are unbiased. That's the only thing, we don't take part, and we're trying to say, stay away from the shit. There is too much noise in this industry and too much crap in this industry. So we're trying to clean up these things and making what is legit, and what is fake out of it.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Thrive State podcast. I'm Dr. V, triple board certified MD and performance and longevity expert. And on today's podcast, we talk about the future of biohacking. Is it dead, or should we consider it lifespanning? More on this today. If you are a biohacker or really into your health, a very insightful conversation with one of the prominent figures in the longevity space today. But before we get into the podcast, let me welcome everybody that is joining for the first time. Hi, I am Dr. V. I am hopefully somebody that will be your guide into getting you into your Thrive state, which is really the state of being that activates the genes for longevity, peak performance, and resilience. And I have the honor of interviewing world thought leaders and experts in the field of biohacking, health, longevity, relationships, because they all contribute to our health and performance. And if you're returning to the podcast, let me just say thank you. We appreciate the loyal listenership. Please help the show grow by subscribing to the podcast, hitting that notification button, sharing this podcast with your friends and family members, engaging with it in the comments, and leaving us a 5-star review wherever podcasts are heard. And as a gift for helping this podcast grow, I've got 2 resources for you for free. The first resource is the Thrive State Toolkit. In my digital library, mythrivestate.com, there is a course called the Thrive State Accelerator, where we actually go into how you actually build habits, how you get rid of habits, because they are the key to tapping into our Thrive state. And not only that, how do we create these new habits in 7 areas of our life that will unlock optimal health, longevity, and peak performance. So you get worksheets, journal prompts, everything from that course absolutely free by going to mythrivestate.com/toolkit. The other free gift I want to give you is a bundle of longevity and performance resources, which includes breathwork exercises, a free ebook on how to thrive to 105, a resource guide for my book, Thrive State, and so much more. Go to thrivestatestarter.com to get that bundle of resources. They are my gift to you for helping the show grow. Thank you again for making the show a huge success. Now, on today's podcast, I actually got a chance to film live in Miami with a good friend of mine, a prominent figure in the performance and longevity space. You may know him from the Instagram handle Cyborg Gains. Now, how did he get this? This person was actually a biohacker for over 20 years, and on the day he stepped into a gym to learn calisthenics, he was amazing all of his friends by being able to really pick up these calisthenic techniques, which are really difficult to do. And they asked him, how are you doing this? He says, you know what? I'm half man, half machine, cyborg. And so he got the nickname Cyborg Gains. So he's really been in the human optimization space for a long time now, and the current CEO of Biohacker magazine. So please check them out. They are the #1 magazine, trusted magazine for biohacking all over the world. And he's also created Lifespanning Media, really is a platform for you to understand not only how to extend your life, but actually how to live more life. And he interviews thought leaders, brings in the best content in this space. So you'll want to get to know him, not as Cyborg Gains, but ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy this conversation with my friend, Jean Fallaccara. Okay, welcome back to another edition of the Thrive State podcast. This is a on-site edition. I am here in Miami Beach, hanging out with my man and Jean. How do I pronounce your last name?
Yeah, Jean Fallaccara.
Oh, say it one more time. Fallaccara. Is there an R or no R?
R. Yeah.
Fallaccara. Okay, so we are going to learn more about this guy, his whole perspective on longevity, which is actually something that I truly resonate with. But before we start the show, there's a portion that my audience is familiar with, a game show style, 5 questions, 1,000 points each.
Okay.
And if you win, this orange goes to you. Question number 1 was, as a kid, what did you want to be when you grew up?
Oh, I wanted to be a doctor.
Yeah. You wanted to be me when you
Yeah.
grew up. Okay. Question number 2. What one book, quote, or phrase, when you first heard it, just completely transformed the way you looked at life?
I think the book Power changed me.
Okay. Question number 3. So far, 2,000 points. We'll see if he gets the other 3. Question number 3 is, if I put you in a crowd of 50,000 people and gave you a microphone to sing a song in front of 50,000 people, what song would you pick?
Life is beautiful.
It is, indeed. Question number 4 is, currently, being that you are leading both Biohacker magazine and Lifespanning media, what is your favorite biohack now?
Sunrise.
It's so free. And the last question is, how does Jean want to be remembered?
I don't want to be remembered. Yeah, there's no need of being remembered. I'm not building any legacy. I just want this world to be great. And if what I've started today is known in 3, 4, 5, 6 generations without remembering my name, I don't care. It's there. It's going to be implemented in this world, and the world is going to be better. That's about all I need. Yeah, I don't want to be remembered.
Wow. And more on that as we speak into longevity, because it brings about a new conscious way about how we look at our life. But more on that in a second. First of all, 5,000 points. Congratulations.
Got it.
Right now. Oh, but a brand new orange. Not an apple, but an orange. So I want to just take us back a little bit, because I've seen this guy on social media. I know him from Biohacker magazine. And sometimes when you meet people, there is an air of, I don't know. I've met different people in the longevity space before. Sometimes there's an air of authority, but when I meet you, there's this whole human being here that, and our connection's so real and true. So not only do I want to kind of find out more from you as who you became, how you became who you became. And yes, he is, leading Lifespanning media, Biohacker magazine, which are two of the most eminent media outlets there is on health, on wellness, on longevity, on biohacking. But before we get there, what did you said you've been biohacking for 20 years.
Yeah.
So this was even before the term even, came into the market. Tell us a little bit about your work before. And we were having a conversation. You used to run a company that was selling freezers.
Yeah.
So how's this
biotech?
Yeah. How does that person, when did biohacking hit your life? And tell us about your life when you found out biohacking.
Well, you know what? I'm working on my next book these days. And I started with this chapter saying, I believe that we are all biohacker without knowing it. It's because we're using these things. And the first thing you're using to improve your body when you are born is the milk that comes from your mother as a biohack, and the light that is triggering your retina at that time to activate the receptors and making you not blind anymore, but getting the vision. So you are a biohacker in power from the day you were born, the second you were born. But I consider myself a biohacker for 20 years because in the last 20 years, I spent a lot of energy and time and resources in trying to improve my life in a way or the other with up and downs. And I was an extreme biohacker. Putting that in perspective, wake up in the morning, get outside, come back, do a sauna, infrared therapy, brain stimulation, meditation, drink salt water, whatsoever. You have so many things to do that you don't have time to live. And I found at the end of the day that I was spending too much time extending my life and not enough time living it. So I coined the word lifespanning to go a bit against that movement and say, not against the movement, but that say like, okay, biohacking is great. We are all biohackers, but we need to take time to live. And you preach that very well in every speech you do. You always talk about these things, and I think it's important to remind people that it starts from the natural behaviors, and from the natural behavior, then you can improve, but you cannot improve shit.
Yeah, biohacking longevity always stems from the basics. And we actually see where people live longest all over the world. They don't have access to any of this biohacking technology.
Yeah.
So that's key to know. Now, one of the things you mentioned also was this innate ability that we are biohackers, that we actually have a sense of how we might want to live life. But we were just having lunch, and he was just telling me about his keen sense to truly, deeply appreciate art. Something that I don't have that same appreciation for, but it's something that but it's something that comes very naturally to you. And when I'm starting to study some of the energy masters around the world, it appears that we have something that is deeply connected to the earth and how we live life. And potentially because of in our modern world, we stop paying attention to these cues from light and sound, from some subtle energies that maybe we can't see. And right now they're turning those into technologies and call it biohacking.
Yeah,
right.
It's sad because it's out there and we don't pay attention because we are all under the power of ADHD to the extreme. So everyone has ADHD today. Everyone is overwhelmed by stimulus from technology, of course, and it's going to be worse and worse because technology is taking a huge part of it. But during our lunch, we're talking about art. Art has a special power, the power of bringing harmony into your brain, bringing this, for me, it's the sense of beauty that is expressed through paintings that keeps my mind just on pace and on peace. And I don't have any distraction out of looking at the painting and being inspired, but what was the pattern of getting to paint these things? Or I don't even try to understand what the artist was trying to do. I don't want to interpret what the artist was trying to do. The only things I do is I look at the painting and I'm just like, wow, that speaks to me because it's harmony, it's beauty, and this sense of beauty brings peace to my mind, and peace to my mind is everything that is outside of those social media, phone, TV. I don't watch TV anyway, but phone, TV, and other things that distract your mind from being yourself. So here's the thing: you're pushing me in a boundary of thinking now. And are we talking about being one with the universe and getting trapped by that energy, or are we talking a bit of being one in the universe and being attracted by this energy that feeds you? And I'm on the second part. I think that I'm part of this universe as a one, and I'm getting harmony and peace from the outside, which I can give back to the universe. Some people think that I'm one with the universe and I'm part of it, so I get the influx coming to me. I don't believe in that.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love where this conversation is going. And this is where I think, at least in my own platform, I'm starting to share a little bit more of that. Our ability to live a long time is really a conscious and spiritual game. You know, I remember writing an article where we start talking about kind of what drives our behavior and living or not living. We've got a part of our brain called the default mode network, and then it just picks up information from the world, from our parents, from our teachers, from media, from society, telling us what's right, what's wrong. But it's an autopilot survival mode. Yeah. It's a program that's just meant to be autopilot survival, and so it's very easily distracted. Anything that we think we don't have, that doesn't give us safety, love, or connection, which is what we already have, it goes out and it lives this way, and that becomes the seat of our ego.
Yeah.
And parts of people in the biohacking community that fear losing their ability, that fear aging, that fears that, that ego part is also what ages us quickly. That ego part is what puts us in the stress state that increases inflammation, that drops our immunity, that puts us into chronic symptoms and chronic disease. You mentioned a few things when you were just talking about art that I thought was brilliant for people to pick up on. Is one, when you're there, you really stop thinking.
Yeah.
Because I almost do feel like thinking or problem solving is your brain telling you that there is some saber-tooth tiger around and I need to prepare. So the more we use our brain in that sense, I think it's great. But I mean, being up here too much actually will age us.
Right.
And the other thing that you also said was the word inspiration.
Our world and our society lacks of inspiration today. So we don't pay enough attention to what inspires us. And we tend, as humans, to get influenced by artificial artifacts that are shiny and that are reflecting as a mirror to what you're not in the eyes of others, which is sad. It's sad because the deepest equilibrium, harmony, again, is when there's no need of recognition, appreciation, legacy, or being recognized, like you said before, for something, where you are in a perfect peace with yourself. And ask yourself and ask your audience this question: how long you guys are capable of staying alone with yourself? That's one thing. There is a study that's shown that you put people in a room and you said you're going to be alone and you have no phone, nothing. 97%, I think it's 97% of these people left the room before 12 minutes. They cannot stand to be with themselves. I can stay 2 hours with myself because I don't need anything else than just this harmony and peace of being with myself. I don't have anything to prove. I don't have anything to show. I don't have anything to rely on with myself. And I've found peace and harmony in being with myself. So when I'm in that state of enlightenment, I can be generous outside of that. I can give back to others. I can help others to find that harmony. And if it's through art, let's do it. If it's through music, let's do it. If it's through writing, let's do it. But find your freaking purpose somewhere and stop being like, always, I need to post a video because I'm going to be famous and blah, blah, blah. This is bullshit. It's just honestly, but there is nothing there. This Andy Warhol, 15 minutes of fame, it's all you're going to get, 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah. There's so many people seeking that these days. And it's, I think, how we're raising our children to be in a distracted world. And I think there's certainly money in us being distracted, to not know our true selves and not know our true worth, because we would expend energy elsewhere rather than knowing that what we have, much of what we have is within us already.
It's true. But it's our society that guides us to be like that. It's because our system is made this way. Like, this funny sentence, like, you buy things that you don't have with the money that you borrow to impress your neighbor that you don't like.
Right.
This is exactly what our society is based on. And it's a pity. Putting back to how do you feel? This is one question that you should ask yourself every day. How do you feel? How do I feel today? When people ask me, how are you? And I'm always like, first I say, like, I live in Miami, I cannot be better. Or the second, I say, like, be better would be a sin, even if I'm not religious. And then I'm awesome because life is great. And life can be great or cannot be great. It depends of a mathematical system that it's called a referential. Mm-hmm. Like, if you put your referential and you say, my life sucks because I don't have the money, I don't have a house, I don't have a girlfriend, I don't have this and this, but I'm happy like that. I know how to read, I'm in good health, so I can train and things like that. Your life can be good. It all depends on the referential you're putting in. And now, I don't say that you should be content with being a minimalist, but you should be content to every day that you are alive on this planet, because it's a gift to be alive. And our role as longevity expert is to extend this happiness as much as possible.
That's a beautiful way of putting that, because why live to 200 if you're going to be miserable during the time?
If you're miserable, why? Yeah, it's going to be a struggle.
You mentioned something that's so important that I don't think people are aware of, which is how you feel.
Mm-hmm.
How you feel actually is a living, breathing gauge of the biochemical symphony that's going on inside your body right now, your hormones or your neurotransmitter, the state of your nervous system. And so if you are anxious, stressed, worried, anxious, why is it anxious? Why is that's how anxious as I am. You're super anxious. That's a reflection of what's going on in your body. And those feelings, I mean, I don't think we should avoid those feelings.
No. To acknowledge them.
Yeah, we need to acknowledge them because it's telling us that something our body doesn't agree with.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe our focus is somewhere. Maybe we're not eating right, sleeping right, moving right, not deeply connecting with community, or constantly focused on ourselves instead of helping other people. And you have those feelings. Maybe it's your body's way of giving you a signal on something. So you don't run away from it. And I think most people, when they start feeling things like that in this day and age, will find some way of numbing that unpleasant feeling with porn, with alcohol, with gambling, or different.
Yeah,
it's an escapism, right?
And exactly, and that's the sadness of it, because I think we should first. You're not going to escape anything. You're going to be trapped into a pattern that is going to put you even deeper in that problem. So if you start first by knowing what the feeling is, and then trying to analyze where it's coming from. If you find the source where it's coming from, it's very easy to change it if you need to change it, or to adapt it, because sometimes you cannot change things, of course, but you can adapt to it and put, once again, another perspective, another referential on it. And if you change the angle of your vision, like if I'm showing you an object from this side, and you turn around and you see it from the other side, and most people will say it's not the same object, but I'm sorry, it's the same object. My vision that changed, and it's the same for every aspect of our lives. Sometimes we get into a panic mode because, I don't know, something's very important. Your boss is expecting a report, or you have a date that is super important, that you think that is super important for your life, and then you're going to end up break up with that girl 3 months later. But whatsoever, it's just like, if you put every moment of your life onto this microscope of introspective thinking, your life is going to be freaking easy. Honestly, personally, I'm bothered by zero. I'm stressed by zero. I'm never anxious. I was insomniac. I was nervous. I was ADHD. But today I'm just like, I'm me.
Yeah,
I'm myself.
I think that's very important to point out, that you were anxious and nervous and all these things before. And I have to, let people know that I was stressed out, anxious, worried, and I still go through those feelings. But now when I feel that, I just pause and I go, okay, how am I feeling this way? What thoughts, feelings, beliefs, am I tying to this? And then, sometimes I let myself indulge in those feelings, but other times it's just like, okay, it's a program that's going on, and I can choose something different. It's having that awareness. And so, not to make it sound so easy for like, oh yeah,
no, you're right. It is not that easy, and it doesn't even what we said sounds easy or cheesy, even that to that extreme. I always remember, and I have compassion and very a lot of empathy for everybody that struggle with depression, which is the circle of putting you back into that circle of rumination and not escaping those processing. We get stressed, but the way that we look at it, we can get out of it. And some people have the difficulties of being trapped into that pattern and being stuck into that pattern. Yeah. And we know, like, our thought makes our life and this and that. But I know that it's not easy to control your thought. Everybody, I control your thought, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
Not that easy. It takes practice. It takes a lot of it takes a lot of self-love to get there.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what we were talking about in the field of longevity now. you have so much science and biohacking and technology promising these things, but then there is this part that I think people aren't being aware of, is just sort of remembering that, one, there's a part of our brain and nervous system that constantly wants these other things to protect itself. When you start to feel that you are safe, that you are loved, that you are connected to something much bigger, this ego part turns off, which is another way of saying that the untrained ego is an accelerant for aging. I hope you're enjoying the podcast so far. If you are, I just wanted to let you know, join our community. There's so many free resources and a great community of people that desire health, happiness, human potential, to have more in their life, more health, more energy. And when you have those two things together, you could create more happiness, more abundance, whether it be financial, romantic, all these things in your life. And if you're just starting out, you don't know where to go, just sign up for thrivestatestarter.com, because in there you're going to get a bundle of information that includes a longevity ebook, a longevity and performance resource guide, lecture notes that come from my keynotes at Google, at Fortune 500 companies, all the insights in that keynote in lecture slide form given to you. And then finally, breathwork. I share 3 powerful breathwork exercises to access calm, which really gives you clarity and peace during the day, to access energy if you need to wake up and really motivate yourself, and finally a breathwork routine that you could do every single morning so that you could be very intentional with how you create that day. You can find all this stuff delivered free to your inbox at thrivestatestarter.com. And our community is growing. If you want to be a part of a community of people that desire the Thrive State, that are really in Thrive State themselves, and help other people along with that, you could be a part of the community. You can get group coaching from me. We do breathwork sessions, meditation sessions, and you also get to drop in and participate in podcasts in the future. You could find more about the community at mythrivestate.com. That's mythrivestate.com. So check out those resources. You're not going to be disappointed, and please enjoy the remainder of this podcast.
Yes. Yeah, that's very well said. Yeah, I agree on that.
You are now got 2 brilliant media spaces, Lifespanning Media, Biohacker Magazine. When did you get involved with them? What was sort of the inspiration for doing that, and where do you see it going in the future?
So Biohackers Magazine, it's a very interesting story, and it's this cherished moment of your life where you think and you don't know why you're doing it, but you're doing it because you have the feeling that it's going to bring you something and bring you where you were meant to be or meant to go. Biohacker Magazine back 2020, they interview me. After the interview, they approach me and they go like, "Oh, would you be interested in jumping in the magazine?" And I'm an entrepreneur, and so I took some time to reflect. And first I said, "No, I have no time." Then I went back, and they came back actually, and I said like, "Yeah, I'll take over the magazine." So I took over the magazine. Then I got trapped into my biotech businesses. I ended up by selling it in 2021. So Biohackers Magazine was existing, changing, shifting slowly, but not to the pace I wanted it to be. And when I got trapped into corporate America and I said like, fuck it, that's not me, I finally had the revelation, that, okay, now it's time. It's time to do what I love, what I love the most. And the media is a great tool because I think that what I do love the most is educating people that it doesn't have to be complicated. The most simple thing that you can do makes you better. So how do you do that? You need media, you need presence, you need tools to do that. So Biohackers Magazine became quite the standard in the biohacking. It's still the only magazine in the world talking about biohacking. And we got like Brian Johnson, Peter Diamandis, Jim Quick, Dave Asprey for the coming one, Dr. Pienview coming up, and We got big stars, big names, and the magazine became very recognized. It's the standard, is the reference because we are unbiased. That's the only thing, we don't take part and we're trying to say, stay away from the shit. There is too much noise in this industry and too much crap in this industry. So we're trying to clean up these things and making what is legit and what is fake out of it. Longevity is the space that is bringing and bridging the most money after AI. So everybody wants to get the part of it. And I think that everybody is trying to sell stuff that it's inappropriate. It's just like, it makes people even more doubtful about the potential we have. So that's biohackers. Lifespanning was because as a biohacker, I've hit the wall a couple of times. People are telling me, biohacking, what is that? Are you hacking hospitals? What the fuck are you doing? And I was just like, I'm a scientist. So I go like, it is true that you cannot hack your biology. It's impossible. You can adapt it. You can improve it. And I was just like, we need to make that maybe more clear. So I came up with the name, the word lifespanning. And lifespanning was invented. It's going to be in the dictionary next year. Just to reflect what we're doing. We're extending life and health span because extending life, pharmaceutical industry do that very well. But you have to remember the last 10 years of most humans on this planet, especially in the United States, the last 10 years are in healthcare, hospital, or on a bed. Do you want to live 10 years, 20 years longer in that mode? Nah. So we want to have health span. We want to be able to be 100 and be running. Like most people cannot run after the age of 30. I think that you can run up to the 80 or 100. We've seen this woman actually yesterday running a half marathon, 101. So it's possible. It's possible to get there. And remember something, okay? Let's pretend we are all from the same matter in this universe. Try to explain me why some animals, the capacity of hearing sound 12, 15, 20 times better than us. Their olfactive nerve developed like a bear. 7 miles away, they can smell something. We are from the same reptilian evolution. We have forgot to use those neurons, but they're still there. We just need to rewire every single place in our brain to make sure that what we would consider superhuman is actually just humans with the normal faculties that we were born millions of years ago with, but we have neglected to use. So let's build up these movement of people that improve those neuronal connection and make sure that they become, we call them superhuman today, but they're not. They're just like normal humans that live longer. Our biology is designed to live up to 125. Some say 137. Let's say 130, okay? And we live up to 80. We have a fucking problem there.
You could tell he's very passionate about this.
Yeah, I am.
So one thing that I want to leave people with is just sort of, I think so much of today was just understanding that biohacking or extending our life has less to do with something external outside of us, but really remembering the true love, beauty, how connected we are to everybody else, and so much is within here. But I know you start off your day with sort of intention, and your ability to start off with intention does not allow you to be distracted, because being distracted means your ego is focused on something else. Your ego is on, it's active. It means survival mode, which means it's going to age you earlier. So there are practices that you put in. So how do you like to start off your day, and how does that put you in the right state of intent? And are there things that you do throughout the day other than stare at your piece of art that kind of like reminds you where you are?
The piece of art are more for the night when I finish my walk after my dinner as a meditative state before bed. But I start my day by knowing what I have to do during this day. For example, if I have a meeting, a podcast, or an interview or whatsoever, I want to know what is that so I can get ready for that. then I want to achieve at least one thing during this day that will make my day better than the day was yesterday. So I can go to bed and say another things was accomplished today. But I start my day very slowly. I don't want to be rushed. So I wake up. When I wake up, I've never used any alarm or whatsoever. So these days I wake up around 6:45, 7 with the sound of birds outside, and I drink water, salt, lemon, and then I stretch. Then I really take my time to look at the beautiful universe we live in, get inspired by that, setting my intention for the day with my goals. And I do about 15-minute, 20-minute meditation. But look at that. I'm not going to open my phone before 9 a.m. And that's the thing I don't want to do before. So some people text me before it's just on mute. And I'm keeping this discipline with media. I don't watch TV. As I said, I don't listen to radio. I don't browse the internet to get news. I don't care about that. We have enough to get information from. And then stretch. And if I feel working, I'm going to go work. If I don't feel working, and honestly, it's a privilege. I have to admit that. But if I don't feel working, I'm going to go hit the gym and work out. If I feel working, I'm going to work 90 minutes because I only work on flow states. I'm against these 8 hours work that we impose to everybody, and it should be off. We need to change the world. Honestly, this is not efficient. Our economy is not efficient. Our brain is meant to work 2, for some 3 times 90 minutes a day, for some only once, and for some days only one. I work on flow state. When you work on flow state, 90 minutes, more or less 15 minutes, you're going to be efficient as someone that worked 4 or 5 hours. So don't spend 4 or 5 hours doing nothing in front of your computer, but be efficient and take the rest of the time to walk, to meditate, to look at art, to even read, or to listen to music, or whatsoever. Do whatever makes you feel alive. And this is what I do. And I feel I run my life with freedom. Again, with freedom. Like, I don't want anything to be imposed.
The future of humanity, I feel, will probably adopt a very similar lifestyle. That to be able to just express yourself as yourself and not be tied down to all these different things is what's going to awaken the potential in every human being that is not tied to their desk work. So that's a great ideal, and I think that's where human beings used to live before.
Right.
We have, however, developed a society where people have to make a living in jobs and things like that.
Industrial revolution.
Yeah, exactly. So let's speak to the gap.
Yeah.
If somebody's working a job right now, they might not like it, and they feel like they got to work in the hours. How do you talk to that person right now and give some maybe practical tools as to maybe this is what flow state feels like, or maybe a couple tricks or hacks to tap into flow states so that they can now say, oh, I could be a little bit more efficient with my time and energy?
Okay, so you just pretend you have to be sitting in an office or being in an office, because sitting, it's a different story. No one can oblige you to sit for 8 hours. It's illegal. Okay, but you're in an office for 8 hours a day. Okay, first, when you decide that your time is to work, there's a couple of tricks that are based in neuroscience. First, you need to know what is the coldest temperature of your body, where your highest temperature in the morning raises to the point that your body is warming up, so you can go into flow state more quickly. But just pretend you don't care about that. But come to the office. If you need to work on something, first of all, shut down your email, your phone, your notification, and whatsoever. Get on the task. That task, put your concentration on it. And if you need to start to work on that task, inspired or not inspired, just do some breath work to put you there, to understand that you have to do that. Write down the perspective of where you want to go, and then set your short-term goal for achieving that, I don't know, a paper that you have to write, or sorting data, whatever the job is, but do it on purpose without the distraction. If you keep the distraction around you, that task that was supposed to last for an hour and a half is going to last for 4 hours, and you're not going to be productive. It's like you're wasted. Now you saved these extra hours in your time because you've been dedicated to the task. Take a walk. If you are alone in your office or a factory, go outside, take some sun. That's important. 20 minutes. You know this old technique, the Pomodoro technique? Yeah, so that's it. Takes 20-minute break, digest the information. You're going to be more open to something else. And then for the next an hour and a half, do soft work. You know, those tasks, replying to email. No one dies if you don't reply to an email right away. And it's not supposed to be. If it's that urgent, take the phone and call instead of replying to an email. I see people like, what the? Okay, an email, it's an email. It can be replied even in 24 hours. Doesn't matter. So you set your time and you work that way. Then if you can do that the second time during the day, you're going to see that in less than 10 days, your productivity will ramp up to 100 and something %, way more. Now, AI is a fantastic tool to help you achieve many tasks that are, like you were saying, the future will be people doing pretty much what they want to do at the time they want to do. Yes, because AI, we all are going to have an AI assistant or an AI twin that will do all these shitty tasks that we don't like to do, but we do today. And with that assistant, the AI will think like you, reply like you, and/or phone calls, do even other phone calls and things like that. And you're going to have the time to use what is the most important thing in your intellect, creativity. When you have creativity, you have no limit. When you lose creativity, you become a machine that is at the service of others.
Yeah, beautiful. That's how we continue. I mean, so many people ask, you know, in this world of AI that's taking out so many tasks out there, will there be jobs of people? And the thing is, it's going to come back to who we are as human beings, that we've got these uniquely human traits, like creativity, like being inspired, like deeply connecting and feeling and empathizing with each other. There's energy there, and those things can never be replicated.
How much opportunities are coming because of AI is going to take over all these things that we don't like to do. We have to admit that like many people are spending at least 50% of their day doing things that they don't like. AI will replace those things, and that's fine. That's perfect. It's going to give you more time to be with your kids.
They're like, no, give me back the work. No, I'm kidding. Fascinating conversation today. And I hope the main takeaway we have here is your ability to heal, to live a long time, to enjoy a life you love and live doesn't come from a pill or a surgery or a supplement. And doing the work, and it is work, to free us from distraction, to remember who we are. Unfortunately, that does require some inner work. Of everything that you've done in life so far, what has been your best medicine?
Listening to people. I have to admit that when I started my career, I was, those asshole, arrogant people that think that the world is theirs and they own the world. I was like that. I was nasty. I was almost dictatorial with my employees. I realized today that in every single human, every single person, when you spend the time, listen. But listen, I really say listen. It's not just like putting it here and say yes, yes, yes. It's to really listen to what they have to say. Every person on this planet has a freaking value. If you take the time to stop on the street and to ask one person a minute of his or her time, you're going to be friends. If you do that every day in a year, you're going to have 365 more friends. As simple as that. You cannot maybe handle 365 more friends because you're always on your phone and you expect messages from them. Then you can have friends or relatives or people that you know without having to text them every 10 minutes or talk to them every 5 minutes or every day. But I think it's important to just put some compassion or more empathy into this world. And so this is what I've learned today, having more empathy for human species, for humans. And as I said at the beginning, the world is beautiful, and I opened my eyes on that. That's what I'm very happy of.
And I just have to add to that because I get asked by corporations to speak on human and organizational performance and longevity. And one of the questions I get asked of a lot is, how is the human body, like an organization, similar? Well, they're all made up of individual units. And so if we consider our body and we want our body to perform well, we think of every single cell in our body. What it does is they all have their own individual roles, but they know they belong to something much, much bigger, that they are very important, but yet very insignificant at the same time. And it's this harmony of just serving something that's much bigger than you and feeling like you're connected to something much bigger, that when the cells in their body communicate and collaborate in this way, it gives my human body the performance and health that it needs. If there's one cell that says, no, you know what, screw everybody else, I don't want to connect with you, I don't want to do this or that, there's actually a condition that happens there in the body. Yes, and that's cancer. And if we start to understand that humanity itself is a living and breathing organism, can we start to see ourselves and me look at you and like you're just like another part of an organ, or we might be the same tissue or whatever. We're muscle. We're the tissue muscle. But if we could start to see that, not only do we quiet down that part of our brain of ego that thinks that we're separate than others, that we belong to there, but that's where I think, there's a lot of consciousness placed into that space of longevity now, really understanding that.
One of the parts in longevity that is not explained completely, but is quite interesting, and honestly, I'm a scientist, a pure scientist, biotech, immunology, genetics, neuroscience, so the hardcore science. But this part of the new science that is quite not explained yet, but is fascinating, is the fact that we have vibration and frequency. We can raise our vibration or frequencies. And the way that we find harmony is the way that we actually vibrate. And some people, and I had this discussion with my daughter yesterday, she was asking me, why this guy is not coming back to me? And I said, as long as you're vibrating this way, he's not going to pay even attention to you because you're not on the same frequency level. Mm-hmm. You have to vibrate positively. When you meet someone and you go like, wow, I love the energy of that person. There's something there. We cannot explain it, but there's something there. Today, science is trying to show those frequencies and light that you emit. And I'm fascinated by that because I'm a true believer that these energy fields are making this world the way it is. And so the main goal of what we could do on this planet is trying to have these people vibrating with harmony. When you vibrate with harmony, when you raise your energy and you're in harmony internally, you're going to reflect that outside and you're going to attract way more people that are compatible with your energy instead of attracting all the shit on you that happens to you and then complaining, why is this happening to me? Maybe you just want it to be that way.
That energy is the thrive state. Thank you. That's the thrive state. That's what I talk about. And yes, your brain, your thinking, and the thought and ego basically just narrows down the possibility of the energy frequencies that are out there. Anyway, that's like a total new podcast conversation on its own. So we'll end here. Jean, thank you for being on the Thrive State podcast, man.
Yeah. This guy did a handstand today.
I hope you enjoy that episode of the Thrive State podcast. And if you're finding that this content is really helping you and your family members, please consider supporting our mission and our cause of elevating health, happiness, and human potential for people all over the world. You can do so by making sure that you subscribe to this podcast, sharing it with your friends and family members, and leaving us a 5-star review wherever podcasts are heard. All these things are going to really help elevate the show and to give us the resources to continue to bring more content just like this to yourself as well as the people that you love. If you haven't already, you might want to consider joining our community. We actually have a community where people get to engage with me in group sessions where we do breathwork, meditation, where we do challenges together, really to be able to get us access to health, happiness, human potential so that we could have longevity and performance in our life as well, you can check out our community at mythrivestate.com. That's mythrivestate.com. And if you haven't already, pick up a copy of my book, Thrive State. It really gives you all the tools, the pillars that you need to create a blueprint to control the energetics of your life. Who are you? How you show up in the world? The choices that you consistently make create an energy in your body, and you can control this. And when you can control that, you also control the messages you give to your DNA that gives you access, again, to optimal health, longevity, and peak performance. And let me also just share a free gift to you. If you haven't already, please pick up my longevity and performance bundle where I share lecture notes, ebooks, breathwork exercises, and longevity and performance resources at thrivestatestarter.com. Thank you so much for being a part of this community. Thank you for helping us grow. Remember always, my friends, that you are your best medicine.